One of the big trends at the moment that's doing the rounds, which is perfect for home parties, for garden parties, home festivals, going to festivals, is the whole hard seltzer market. It's come over from the US into the UK. We are gradually getting more and more brands here. I'll be honest, I didn't really think hard seltzers were going to be a massive thing, and they're still not in the grand scheme of things, but they are growing. But the questions are, what exactly are hard seltzers? And the other thing, I'm going to show you how you can make some for yourselves at home. So some of the brands, I've only got one here at the moment, but there's some of the big brands. We've got Copperberg in the UK, White Claw has come over from the US, Big Mike's I think it is as well. They're essentially alcoholic soda waters. In the UK, we call seltzer soda water. So think soda water. That is exactly what a hard seltzer is. It's an alcoholic soda water. Now, the big difference between some of the bigger brands and say some of the other brands that are doing this cheaply without naming any names and brands, because I don't know for 100%, is that proper true hard seltzers are actually fermented and brewed from sugarcane. Now, sugarcane, you might be thinking, well, actually, that's rum, isn't it? They're rums. The big difference is rum is distilled from sugarcane, so it becomes a spirit, whereas if you brew sugarcane and ferment it, you get kind of like a beer, hence like Bud Light, Budweiser. Is it Bud Light? I think Bud Light have got a brand of hard seltzers there as well. So essentially, they are a kind of brewed, fermented sugarcane byproduct, as opposed to distilled, which then becomes a spirit like rum. Now, having said that, you know full well that certain brands, cheaper products, are not going to be going to that length. They're just going to be using flavour compounds in essentially soda waters. So just a very quick recap. Soda water in the UK is seltzer water in the US, okay? It's that same thing, all right? So we are talking UK, we are talking soda waters. And this is what I'm going to be using in a second. So just like supermarket owned soda water. So you know full well that brands are just going to be flavouring this up themselves. There's a few ways that you can do this for yourselves. Yes, of course, it's no faff to go to a supermarket and just get a 4-pack or a 6-pack or an 8-pack, various different flavours. Of course, you can go for your life, but you can actually have more fun and make your own hard seltzers at home. Now, the only thing I will say is that hard seltzers are traditionally lower in calories, but then, of course, that comes because there's no sugars in them, or very little sugar in it, because it is soda water and not a sweetened, like a Fanta, a Tango, a Sprite, a Lilt, all those kind of things. It gets very confusing for the US because the US would call them soda, whereas we don't. We call them fizzy drinks. Okay, so there is quite a bit of distinction. But UK, I'm talking soda water, and there's no, That's why kind of soda water in the UK is actually not that well loved, because it is unsweetened. So how do we go about making our own hard seltzers? It's obvious to a lot of people. A lot of people would have switched on straight away. Now, I would automatically go for, that's my brand up there of, I'm going vodka for this, but that's my brand. But however, they are a little bit sweeter because they pop a flavour more. So an alternative brand might be something like your Absolutes, because they are kind of subtle in flavours. There's not much sugar added to them to bring the flavour out, whereas there's a bit of sugar added to the JJ's there. So you could kind of do something like this. We've got passion fruit, we've got mango. They're just they're the only flavours of Absolute I've got at the moment. So you could kind of do something like that. Or there's absolutely nothing stopping you from using gin. For example, the Whitley Neal gins are perfect because they just pop a flavour. Yes, there's a tiny bit of sugar added to them, but you are not talking that much. You're not talking that much in there, to be fair, in the JJ vodkas, but you can. That's where your flavours will come from. You could use Dead Man's Fingers rums. You could use any flavoured rums that you wanted to. Any spirit is going to work. Now, I'm going to show you 2 other quick ways that you could do to make flavoured hard seltzers, if you like. You could go for a plain vodka, if that's what you've got. If you've got lots of vodka or lots of plain gin or rum at home, you could go that way. And you can use flavoured sugar syrups. Bearing in mind, you're not actually going to use that much of them. We're not going to be using a whole shot, because then they become too sweet, and it's the whole point of soda hard seltzers, is they're not that sweet in there. Now, Monin do actually, I don't actually have any here, but Monin do, apart from the plain one, Monin do actually have the sugar-free range as well, in quite, I don't know what flavours, but quite a lot of their flavours. So you can get sugar-free versions of that. I know they do vanilla, I know they do passion fruit, I'm pretty sure they do mango and things like that. So you don't even have to use the full fat sugar syrups. You can use the semi-skim versions if you like. And then the other thing you can do is obviously juices and things like that. Now, obviously there's going to be a bit more sugars in there than what there are in there, because these are prep, but these are natural sugars coming through in there, natural flavours. There's nothing added to supermarket own kind of pressed and squeezed juices. They're just 100%. Whereas obviously you've got, in a concentrate, you've obviously got other stabilisers, sugars added to it. But again, you're not going to be using that much. And the big overriding ingredient you're going to be using is the soda water. So there's plenty of inspiration there. So I'm just going to show you very quickly 2 quick ways to make a homemade passion fruit hard seltzer. So I'm going to do absolute passion fruit for one, a double bubble there. And then for the other passion fruit hard seltzer, I'm obviously going to be using juice. So my alcohol is coming from just plain vodka. So I'm going to do a double bubble of that. Now, to keep this all in line with the sort of seltzer taste, you're obviously not going to half fill that glass with passion fruit juice, because then it doesn't become a hard seltzer. Okay, so you don't want much. I'm going to go 50ml, but I think that's even going to be way too much, to be honest. But 50ml of passion fruit juice. And then I've just added some ice. I'm just going to simply top up with soda water. You can buy Schweppes, you can buy a better quality one, but I've just got Tesco's here. So I'm just going to top that up with Tesco's. And once you've given them a stir, you just serve up. Now, the whole reason why I got that one out, the Kopparberg hard seltzer, is actually, and obviously I can't count the amount of calories and sugar that's actually in that, because I don't know in the vodka. But you know what? I'm hedging my bets that there's a lot less sugar in that than there is in that, and that only says 93 calories per tin as well. It certainly doesn't taste as sweet as what the Kopparberg hard seltzer did, bearing in mind that that isn't as sweet as a lemonade. So plenty of ways you can do that. As I say, if you do want to sweeten it up, you can use, and if you don't want it if you don't want to use proper sugar, you can go for a sugar-free alternative there. But that's just a simple and fun way to make your own hard seltzers at home.